Shorty Yarberry was one of the most famous and colorful muleskinners and guides in the Grand Canyon. He became extremely popular among those employed at the canyon. He lived there for more than 3 decades. Yarberry's true name was Colonel Custer Yarberry. He was born in 1876 in Texas a few months before Custer's last stand. He started tending cattle at age 10 and as an adult became involved in cattle rustling and horse stealing, and spent some time in jail. In 1906, at the age of 30, he made his way to Arizona and worked on cattle ranches. 3 years later he went to the Grand Canyon and first worked as a cowpuncher on the North Rim. In 1921, he became employed by the Fred Harvey Company and worked down at the Hermit Camp resort until Phantom Ranch was opened the next year. There, he worked as a muleskinner, guide, and caretaker. He built the first rock wall around the ranch, planted many of the cottonwood trees, and established the first orchard of peach, apple, pomegranate, and apricot trees. Frequently Yarberry would ask women visiting Phantom Ranch to teach him how to dance. Gertrude Gordon of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania agreed to help. She said,
"You are a good dancer. You are light on your feet. Just keep it up."
But Shorty was mournful and said,
"Somehow it just seems as if I can't learn."
A fellow guide, Jack Way, came by and said,
"That Shorty is the best dancer in the county. He just likes getting the girls to teach him to dance."
Gertrude realized she had been spoofed. Yarberry did not spend all his time down in the canyon. He took part in many community events. For example, in 1925 he attended an American Legion dance on the South Rim and competed in a horse race where chairs were used for horses. He won by several lengths. In 1926 he tripped, fell, and broke his wrist. It was reported,
Shorty has spent an ordinary lifetime in and out of the canyon, on good trails and bad, only to have an accident on level ground, and the popular opinion seems to be that if he'd only had a 1,000-foot precipice to fall over, he'd still have had the use of his arm.
The next year, he married Etta Faring of Syracuse, New York at Grand Canyon's Community Hall. It was the biggest event at the canyon up to that point. It was a cowboy wedding and men showed up in full regalia, chaps, spurs, loud colored shirts and 10-gallon hats. They formed a line on both sides of the aisle and removed their hats to form an archway for the passing bridal party. A 4-tiered wedding cake was presented to them by the manager of El Tovar Hotel. He was very popular and also a friend among the Havasu Pi. In 1936, the river trail was constructed. Yarberry was given the honor of taking the first mule train over the trail. In 1938, Yarberry conducted a school for mules. He explained that no ordinary mule could be assigned to the Grand Canyon. He said,
"The animal must hold a DD, Doctor of Dudes degree, which is assurance he will transport his riders safely on the winding paths and not dump them over some sheer cliff."
He graduated about a dozen mules each year. Many others would flunk out when saddles were put on them. Those who showed signs of bucking were sent over the hill to drag a plow. In 1951, he was awarded a 30-year service pin by the Fred Harvey Company. In early 1957 he became ill and spent days as a patient at the Grand Canyon Hospital. He then went to Phoenix to visit his daughter.
He had everything packed preparatory to returning to Williams and had just left the dinner table and stepped into the yard when death came.
Shorty Yarberry died on March 2, 1957 and is buried in the Grand Canyon Pioneer Cemetery.
This video was written and produced by Davy Crockett for the Grand Canyon Historical Society. Visit us at grandcanyonhistory.org. Help us continue to preserve and share the history of Grand Canyon by becoming a member of the Society. Also, use the subscribe button below to receive more videos like this one.